It was the middle of the night in Ballymun, a quiet suburb in North Dublin. At around 2 a.m., neighbors were startled by loud, unexplained banging noises. One woman looked out her window and saw a man in the garden of her neighbor's home, carrying bags into a waiting car. The next day, the house stood silent. And by 3:30 in the afternoon, the horrifying discovery was made: the lifeless body of 52-year-old Lisa Thompson, a beloved mother of two, found stabbed and strangled inside her own home. This was no random burglary. This was a calculated, brutal killing. And the investigation that followed would uncover a chilling truth, one that shocked not only her neighborhood, but the entire country. Stay with me, because Lisa's story is a reminder of how danger often comes not from strangers, but from those we think we can trust. Lisa Thompson wasn't just another crime statistic. She was a woman whose life touched many. Born and raised in Dublin, Lisa had spent most of her adult life in Ballymun's Sandy Hill Gardens. For more than a decade, she was part of the fabric of that community. Neighbors described her as kind, respectful, and someone who never caused trouble. She had once worked as a youth worker, helping young people in the area find better paths in life. Friends said she was the kind of person who put others before herself. Her best friend described her as a heart of gold. At home, she was a mother before anything else. Lisa often called her children her jewels. Although she and their father had separated, she kept a good relationship with him, ensuring her kids still had stability. But as we'll soon see, beneath the surface of this quiet life, Lisa had been pulled into circumstances that placed her in danger, circumstances that would eventually intersect with the wrong man. To understand the story, we need to understand the setting. Ballymun is a working-class neighborhood in North Dublin. Once infamous for poverty and crime, in recent years it had begun to change. New housing, community programs, and regeneration projects were giving the area a new face. But even with those changes, Ballymun was still a place where everyone knew each other, and news traveled fast. A strange noise at night, an unfamiliar car, a door left unlocked, people noticed. That sense of community would play a key role both in piecing together what happened, and in the aftermath of Lisa's murder. On the night of May 9th, Lisa was at home, like any ordinary evening. No one knew it would be her last. Around 2 a.m., neighbors began hearing noises, thuds against the wall, the sound of a gate creaking open. One neighbor peeked out and saw something unusual: a man in Lisa's back garden, carrying bags into a car that waited nearby. Another neighbor noticed the kitchen light glowing, odd for that hour. Still, no one called the police. In small communities, people often dismiss strange sounds, convincing themselves it's nothing. But the next day, when repeated knocks at Lisa's door went unanswered, concern turned into dread. By 3:30 p.m. on May 10th, neighbors forced entry through the back door. What they found would scar them forever. Lisa's body lay inside, near the rear doorway. The bedroom had been torn apart, valuables missing, 2 kitchen knives gone. Her injuries were catastrophic: 11 stab wounds to the chest, 6 piercing her heart. A cord from a window blind was wrapped tightly around her neck. She had been strangled as well as stabbed. The ferocity of the attack suggested rage, not random theft. This was personal. Police immediately secured the scene. Ballymun residents gathered outside in shock, whispering in disbelief. Everyone asked the same question: who could have done this? At first, the evidence hinted at a burglary. The trashed bedroom, the missing jewelry. But there were no signs of forced entry. Whoever had killed Lisa, she had likely let them inside. Soon after, detectives made a startling discovery. In Lisa's attic, hidden in bags, were prescription tablets with a street value of nearly €50,000. The revelation spread like wildfire. Lisa, the quiet mother and youth worker, had apparently been selling tablets to make extra money. Neighbors whispered that 5 or 6 people regularly came to her house to buy them. This discovery introduced an unsettling possibility. Had her side dealings put her in contact with dangerous people? Still, police needed more than speculation. And that's when CCTV became their most powerful weapon. On CCTV footage, investigators watched as a Hyundai entered Sandy Hill Gardens at 2:28 a.m. A woman was behind the wheel. A man slipped out and walked straight toward Lisa's home. At 2:50 a.m., that man reappeared, leading through Lisa's back door, carrying a red pillowcase and a red wallet. He climbed back into the waiting car. Just minutes later, the Hyundai was captured again, this time at a petrol station. The man was seen going through Lisa's belongings, pocketing jewelry, even trying to sell rings to a worker behind the counter. That worker later told police the man gave off a sinister vibe, recalling his tattoos and how casually he tried to sell valuables at 3 a.m. Detectives who reviewed the footage recognized him immediately. Brian McHugh. Who was Brian McHugh? McHugh wasn't a mystery figure. He was infamous to local law enforcement. With over 50 prior convictions, his record read like a catalog of crime: burglary, robbery, drug offenses, knife possession, criminal damage. But here's the chilling part: Lisa knew him. She had once had a casual fling with McHugh. Though the relationship fizzled, they reportedly reconnected shortly before her death. This wasn't just another criminal breaking into a house. This was someone Lisa had once trusted, someone she may have let in willingly. When police searched McHugh's mother's home, the evidence was overwhelming. Jewelry belonging to Lisa, with her DNA still on it. A red pillowcase matching the one seen in CCTV footage. A certificate for jewelry evaluation, tied directly to stolen items. McHugh's DNA on the very cord used to strangle Lisa. McHugh was arrested. When questioned, he refused to answer. Shown the CCTV, he declined to deny it was him. His silence spoke volumes. But investigators knew he hadn't acted alone. The Hyundai wasn't just a stolen ride. Behind the wheel that night was Deirdre Arnold, a 42-year-old former addiction counselor. Arnold had once helped people escape drugs. But after meeting McHugh, she spiraled into addiction herself. Their relationship was toxic, fueled by crack cocaine and heroin. Text messages revealed her fear of him. In one message, she told McHugh, "I could have been like Lisa today. Strangled and stabbed. Look what you done." The detail about strangulation hadn't been released publicly at that time, meaning she had first-hand knowledge of the murder. Arnold was arrested and charged with assisting McHugh. In February 2025, the case finally went to trial. Lisa's family filled the courtroom, wearing shirts that read, "Justice for Lisa." The prosecution laid out a damning case. McHugh's DNA on the murder weapon. CCTV footage showing him carrying Lisa's belongings. Witness testimony from the petrol station. A long history of violent crime. The defense tried to paint a different picture, suggesting Lisa's own involvement in illegal activities made her vulnerable to many enemies. They argued that McHugh's DNA was present simply because he had visited her home before. But the jury wasn't convinced. The sheer weight of the evidence was too strong. McHugh was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Arnold was convicted of assisting him and given a 3-year sentence. During victim impact statements, Lisa's family revealed the devastating toll. Her 12-year-old daughter told the court, "Half our hearts went when Mom died. The way she was killed is something you'd only see in a horror movie. We lost our mom to someone we thought we could trust." Her teenage son added, "This murder has left a ripple of pain across our entire family. Nothing will ever be the same." Judge Karen O'Connor praised their strength, saying, "Lisa's love for her children was palpable. Today, her voice was the last voice heard in this trial." Lisa Thompson's life ended in unimaginable violence. She had flaws, like anyone. She may have made dangerous choices, but she was also a mother who adored her children and a woman who once devoted herself to helping others. Her murder highlights painful truths. Violence often comes not from strangers, but from people we know. Vulnerability, whether through relationships, addiction, or circumstance, can place people in the path of predators. And sometimes, justice comes only after unbearable loss. So I ask you, do you believe Lisa's hidden involvement with prescription tablets sealed her fate? Or was this always going to happen the moment Brian McHugh re-entered her life? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this story powerful, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who would find it important. Because telling these stories keeps the victims alive in memory, and it ensures that their voices echo long after the courtroom falls silent.